there, my name is Irene, and in this video, we're going to be building this custom staircase system. Now, if you look at the reference image, you may notice that this is not a stair in the traditional sense of the word. This would be more of a platform system that is integrated to the flooring, but I'm going to show you how to do it using the Revit stair systems. So let's get to it. Now, whenever I work with stairs, what I like to do is open the 3D view on the side, just so I can see how it progresses as I build the different elements. And what we're going to be doing here is I like to build my stair using the monolithic system, because again, it's kind of like a solid platform, very similar to my previous stair video, which you can see if you follow the link above. But basically, what I'm going to do to make my life easier is I'm going to be working with the monolithic stair, and I'm actually going to start with a straight stair, just so that way I can kind of like plan a little bit what I want my stairs to be without having to worry about, is it like working exactly the way that I want it or not. So I'm going to choose under the architecture tab, stairs. And the other thing that you can notice about these stairs is that they don't have railing. So because of that, I'm going to come here to railing and I'm going to set it up to none. Okay, we're not going to have a railing for this one. Now, again, when it comes to the staircase type, we're not going to be choosing the assembly ones. Instead, we're going to choose either monolithic or precast. They're kind of the same thing. So either will do the job. Okay. Now, when it comes to these kinds of stairs where the steps are all like different, there's two ways to do it. So one of them is to do it directly by creating sketch. This is a relatively simple way to do it, and we could do it. That being said, I tend to be really bad at calculating the depth of things. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to start with a straight stairs, so I can calculate like how many steps I need total and how much distance they're going to take, and then I will edit them. So we're going to see how to do that. The other thing that I'm going to do here is that you can see that the stair system doesn't really do what traditional stairs do, which is go from first level to second level. Instead, again, because it's more of a platform element, is just stopping at a certain height. So what I'm going to do here with my stairs is, yes, I do want them to start at level 1, but what I'm going to do is that instead of them going to level 2, I'm just going to decide what is the height that I want these stairs to have. Now, on the stair system, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main levels, and then we have kind of like steps in between them. So let's say 12 steps total. Now, what we can see here is that we have 18 steps. So what I'm going to do, because I don't want to change this step height for the time being. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this value so we can get close to those 12 steps. So let's see what happens if I make it 2000 millimeters. Oh, that was a first try. Great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start drawing my stairs. It doesn't really matter what width I give them, because I can always change that later. So I'm going to leave them at 1000 for the time being, and I'm just going to click and start drawing my stairs. See, I never guess how much space I'm going to need, which is why I like to make them like this. Now, because again, it's not just a stair that has like a final landing, what I'm going to do here is I am going to move my stairs just a bit. I actually want to have a lot of room here to work with. Okay, so with that out of the way, now I can see that my stairs are going in the right direction. And what I'm going to do is, before I start working with the editing of like the steps themselves, I just want to change the way that my stair looks. Because basically what you can see here is that, yes, it is a solid stair, but it's flat. It's kind of like following the staircase itself. I want the element to basically go all the way down to the floor. So the way that we're going to do that, we're going to go to our stairs. And we're going to finish them. This is fine. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to select my stairs and I'm going to go to edit type. Now, anytime that I want to do modifications, what I will do is start by duplicating. So this is going to be my, let's call it platform stairs. Okay. And what I'm going to do is start by editing the run. Now, when you're working with stairs, your stairs are basically divided into two main parts, so to speak. One is the run. This is your basically riser thread, riser thread, riser thread. And you have your supports. So these can either be a main element or it can be side stringers. Okay, so here I want to work with the run. So because of that, I'm going to come here where it says run type. And once again, I'm going to create a duplicate because I'm going to be editing these properties. So this is going to be my platform. All right, so with that in place, what we want to do is, in order for this guy to go all the way to the bottom, we're going to keep this underside surface, but we're going to change it to make it much, much deeper. So I'm going to start with 2000, which was the total height of my stairs. That should make the last step drop, but let's give it a try and see what happens. So if I go apply and then okay, and I go apply and then I go okay, there we go. This is what we want. See, it's just kind of like a solid element. Beautiful. So with this done, now we can start playing with the boundary of the stairs. So I'm going to select my stair, go to edit, and I'm going to select them again and convert. So again, this is going to convert my straight stair into a sketch based. And see, now I can edit that sketch. Now, this sketch, there's basically three types of lines that you're working with. The green ones are your boundary lines. So this is basically the sides of your stair. Then you have the risers. So these are the steps of the stair. And then finally, you have the stair path. So this is kind of like the direction that the stair goes in. You have this option because sometimes you can have stairs that like are forks. So you have two stairs that merge into one, or one stair that merges into two or more. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to mess up with my path. I'm just going to bring it all the way back here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by bringing my edges all the way here. Bring this other edge all the way here. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then I'm also going to bring them all the way up. But the easiest way to do that, we're going to take our last step, and that one is going to be against the wall. So I'm just going to leave it straight because that one should follow the boundary of your wall. Now I'm going to use the trim tool, TR, trim, and I'm going to trim those two lines and then these two here. Finally, I'm going to start playing with my lines. So the reason that I keep these lines is because, again, I have a hard time counting. So having these just makes it easier for me. And basically what we want to do is start drawing our curves. Now, there are a couple of rules that you need to follow here. The most important one is that your risers should not overlap. So for example, I cannot take, let's say that we're going to draw these riser first. So I'm going to delete it from the line here, and I'm going to make it with my curved lines. So I could not have my riser start at another riser because that's going to give me an error message. So you need to make sure that your risers are always starting from the boundary line. Now, if you want it to look like they're starting kind of like from the same place, you can do so by going really, really close, but there should always be a little bit of a distance. See, so now I can come here, and again, as long as they don't overlap anywhere, you should be fine. So I'm going to do my first step. So let's say I'm going to do something like that. This one is going to be kind of like whatever. I'm trying to follow the reference shape, but I'm not great at this. So we'll see how that goes. And then let's say we're going to finish it. We're going to finish it. Ooh, that looks horrendous. No. Let's try that again. That one is going to be like, there you go. Okay, so that's going to be my first step. So now I'm just going to repeat the same thing with the second one. Now, again, if you look at the reference image, you're going to see that you have these kind of like big steps, and then you have the little steps in between. So basically what we can do to make this process a little bit faster is that this second step here, instead of just drawing it from scratch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose pick line, and then we're going to give it very little offset, like literally give it 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters. Like it should look like it's one on top of the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 1 millimeter, like literally nothing. Like I have to get so close to actually see it. See, it's there. And now, oh, I chose the wrong line. It should be risers. There you go. Pick my line. I'm going to give it an offset of 1 millimeter. Again, barely noticeable. Now, this is going to be tedious if you have a very big stair system, because you're going to have to zoom in and zoom out quite a lot. Okay, let's say we're going to have this other one here. Then we're going to have this other one here. And I think we just need a few more. There you go. And then what we're going to do is where we want the steps to actually be, we will delete that portion of the line. And then that's the one that is actually going to come out. So let's say that I want my smaller step to come out here. So I'm going to delete that portion. I'm going to go to riser again. And now I'm going to zoom in here. Oh gosh, where is it? Oh, why do I have 3 of them? That can't be good. 3. Ooh, I don't like that. 2. Let's let's see what's going on here. This is the problem of working with such small dimensions. I may go with like a 5mm or something like that so I can see what the hell is going on, because right now I'm very confused. What is going on here? Oh, okay, we have too many lines. Okay, so we're gonna delete this guy and we're gonna delete that guy. Do we have this problem anywhere else? Nope. Nope. And no, it was just that guy. Okay, so with that one deleted, we can go here to riser. We're going to choose our arc. And now we are going to make sure that we're starting where we deleted the other one. And I can come here and say, just keep in mind where the other one ends. So I know that I need to go from here to there. So let's say I'm going to do something like this. And then I'm going to do something like this. Ooh, something like that. And then I'm going to finish it by bringing it to the other end. There you go. Again, not super perfect, but you can kind of see the idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to speed through drawing the rest of my steps. But just to give you a quick idea of what you should be expecting to get at the end, I'm going to show you here the preview. So if I select trim extend and I select this side, and then I'm going to select again trim extend, I'm going to select this guy and I'm going to extend it there, and I'm going to finish here. Continue invalid. Oh God, there must be an overlap somewhere. Let's let's try this again. I should not have made them so close. One. I think I'm going to exaggerate the gap between them. Oh, there is the problem. See, that little overlap breaks the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to make them with a little bit more of a distance just because it is impossible for me to see what the hell is going on being so close. So again, I'm going to go risers. I'm going to go pick. This time I'm going to give them like 10mm. It's still nothing, but it should make it a little bit more visible. Okay, we're going to select that guy. We're going to select this guy. We're going to select this guy, and that guy. And again, all we have to do is select one of those double lines and we're going to delete it and instead replace it with what will be my kind of like new additional riser. So I'm going to bring this guy here. And again, we want to make sure that there is no overlap. So let's do something like this. And then we're going to bring this guy there. That looks a little bit more smooth. And then when we finish, see, no error message. That's what I wanted. And if I finish here, this is what you're going to get. So as you can see, my stair, now the reason that this guy's going all the way back down is because it's kind of like detached from these guys. So when I do the rest, all of them should be aligned. But basically you can see that you have like the two elements and then you have these little like new protrusion. Okay, so what we're going to do here, again, I'm going to go back to edit. I'm going to speed up through the process to draw the other boundaries. And then we will take a look at how all of the steps look. So I will see you in a minute. Cheers. And there we have it. So as you can see, the important thing here is that you have to make sure that it is saying 0 remaining, and you want to make sure that there is no overlapping thresholds. If there's any riser that is overlapping into any other lines, it's going to give you an error message. So if we say yes now, what should happen is that it should generate my stairs. I'm seeing something kind of funny here. Let's let it finish and see what is going on. This might be a height problem. What is going on here? Let's see if I delete. What is going on with my stairs? Why do I only see the first couple one? None to 2000, rebar 12. I think I may have messed them up by saying yes and accepting, and then that's going to make them overlap. So that's not a problem, because guess what? What I can do now that I already have like the boundaries drawn exactly the way that I want them is that I can just like redraw either from sketch or like again editing from scratch. problem. I wonder why. That should not be happening. Let's do something else. I'm going to keep this one here as a reference. I wonder, see, and this time is even less. Before it was showing more steps. Now it's even less. So let's see if there's something else that I can do. I'm going to go here, architecture. I'm going to go stairs. Same thing, everything. We're going to go level none. We're going to say it's going to be 2000 for my desired height. Actual thread riser number. I wonder why I'm getting that issue. You know, I'm gonna do something for a second. It may be the run type. It shouldn't be, but let's see what happens if I change the run type. So let's say that we're gonna bring this to the original 150. Yes, that is the problem. Now, I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. I don't fully understand what is it that triggers this error with the stairs, but basically what happens is that for some reason, giving them that depth starts taking from the top of the stairs. So you know what, that's fine. What I'm gonna do here is on my 3D view, I'm gonna use my section box just so I can see what's going on inside. Technically speaking, you don't need to see inside of them because they're part of the structure. There you go, I can see them here. So the reason is that your stairs, basically we have, it's causing a little bit of a complication due to the nature. So when I was changing that depth, it was throwing everything in a loop. So that's okay. Let's see if we can fix it here now that we can see it on the side. So the landing thickness, let's see if we can change that landing thickness. So if we go here and we're going to create a duplicate, so this is going to be custom landing. What happens if I make this landing to be, I don't know, like 1,000, and I go apply and okay, and apply and okay. Yeah, it's not really going to change anything here because my stair is completely made out of runs. There are no landings, there's no stopping. So yeah, it is all going to be solved through the run. So let me see here. We have thread and risers. It is monolithic. And then if we go here and we leave it smooth, what happens if I switch it to stepped? Let's start there. Let's go apply. Let's go okay. Let's go apply. And let's go okay again. And again, that's not really doing anything. I wonder if it might be because of how thin I've made these elements here, and I needed to give them a little bit more of a gap. Let's go back here to the 300 millimeter that we had. Like, it doesn't really matter, but we might as well. Yeah, that's not affecting anything. So now what happens if I go back to smooth and I give it something like 300? So we're going to go apply. Okay. All right. Yes. See, this is the problem. See that overlapping that we're getting? So I think that's making Revit go a little bit crazy. So what I'm going to do here, just to make sure that I don't break it, I'm going to go with small increments. So instead of going straight to 2,000, I'm going to start with 1,000 here. Yes. See how those steps disappear? Yes, so that is the problem. Let's see, we're going to go 500, apply. So that's okay because my element is kind of like encrusted within the walls and the floor. We don't really need to see this. All I need it to be is deep enough that you don't see kind of like behind the concrete element. And now, speaking of concrete, I'm going to finish off my stairs by changing the material in them. So I'm going to take my stairs here and I'm going to switch them to be wood instead of stone. Or actually, yeah, no, let's make them wood. Let's make them wood. So I'm going to go to my stairs and I am going to go to the run type. And I am going to change here the material for concrete cast in situ to some wood. Any wood will do. You can later replace it with whatever specific wood you want it to be. I just wanted to follow the reference image. So this is the first part. Now, what you can also see in this image is that, that wood is hideous. What you can also see in this picture is that your steps are not just like a flat step and that's it. Instead, the step projects a little bit because your step is also becoming kind of like the top of a bookshelf. So that way you can put books in some of the parts under the stair. So the way that we can do this is with a custom thread and nosing. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select our stairs. I don't think I need this view anymore. We can just work with the 3D view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my stairs and I'm going to go to edit type and I'm going to go to edit my run. And the first thing that I want to do is I actually want to have a thread. Now, you want to be careful with this. I'm going to leave the profile of the thread as default because in that case, basically what your thread is going to do is follow exactly the same outline as the steps in the stair system. If I were to choose any kind of like custom shape here, what will happen is that like my stair is going to just be extruded on that profile and it will not follow the shape of my stairs. So I'm just going to leave it as default for the time being. So if I go here and I go apply and I go okay, now what you're going to see is that we have these kind of double element. That's looking really, really good. I'm going to leave it gray for now, just so it stands out. So what we're going to do is instead of creating a custom thread, what we're going to be doing is creating a custom nosing detail. So again, if you go back to your thread, you're going to see that there are two profiles that can make your thread. One is the profile of the thread itself, and the other one is a nosing profile. So this is kind of like the end of the stair, okay? So we're going to create that nosing detail. And to make it, we're going to go File, we're going to go New, and we're going to go Family. I'm going to make sure that I am on metric, yes. And this profile, because it's a nosing, it's just going to be a metric profile. You're going to notice that when it comes to profiles, oh, wait, we have one. That's what I was going to say exactly. You have a few profiles that are like specific for the thing that you're creating. The stair nosing is one of them. So let's actually just choose this guy here. So one thing that I personally struggle a lot with is when I'm drawing profiles, understanding how they're going to map in my geometry when I bring them, because you're basically working with a 2D element that then will be converted into a 3D element. So you just want to pay attention to these references that they're giving you. So it is telling me that on this side, we're going to have a riser face. On this side is going to be our thread. So basically my step is going to be, here is the step and here is the riser. And this is where we should be drawing the profile. So what I want to do is I want this profile to project enough that I can kind of like put some books under it, but I don't necessarily need it to be like the full depth of a book that would be like, I don't know, like 200, 300 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my line command and I'm just going to draw a little rectangle. I want to make sure that the thickness is going to be the same as my thread. And the reason that I want to do that here is because this nosing profile is not going to be parametric. So it's just going to follow whatever my thread is. So it's one of those cases where you kind of like need to decide what your dimensions are going to be. So my thread was 50 millimeters. So I'm going to make sure that this guy is 50. Now let's say that I want this guy to project, Jesus, that's a lot. Let's say that I wanted to project 150, for example. Yes. And now what I can do is if I want to give it any kind of special shape, let's say that I want to give it a little bit of a corner element, like a chamfer, so to speak. So I can come here and say, maybe we're going to count 20, and then we're going to bring it like this, and then we're going to go TR, trim, 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 right? So this is now my profile. I can save it. So I'm going to save as, and this is going to be, I'm going to put it on my desktop, and this is going to be, I'm going to call it bookshelf nosing. Ooh, nosing. And very important, before you finish, one thing that you want to verify, because I've had situations where these causes issues. On the properties here, you want to make sure that you set up the profile usage. So see how right now it's set up to generic. So that means that basically anything that uses profile can use this profile. Sometimes you may want to leave it like that. But again, especially with stairs, they're so finicky that sometimes I find that that causes issues. So if you want to make sure that that doesn't happen, you can come here and specify what that profile is supposed to be for. So in this case, it's going to be a nosing, stair, no nosing. I think I wrote it wrong. That's okay. We're going to save and we're going to load it into our project. And obviously, you're not going to see any changes immediately because we have just loaded a profile. I have not said that I want to use it anywhere. So to apply our nosing detail, I'm going to select my stairs, go back to edit type, go back to edit my run type, and I am going to come here and under the nosing profile, here you go, I should be able to find my bookshelf nosing. Beautiful. So now I can go here, apply, and let's see. God damn it. One of these days, I will be capable of guessing on the first try which way it's supposed to go. But today is not that day. So I did it in the wrong direction, which basically means that I'm just going to select this guy and I'm going to mirror it and I'm going to make sure that I'm not making a copy. Okay, that should be correct now. Let's see. Load into profile. override. What? Where are you? Why are you doing this? Why are you looking in the wrong direction? Wait, let's figure this out. So am I looking in the right direction or not? Is it like this, but like offset MV, and then I put it here? Is it that? Again, I have such a hard time understanding how 2D translates into 3D. My brain just cannot compute. So, okay, let's try this again. We'll do it eventually. Ah! Okay, no, wait. We're making progress. It is looking in the right direction. It is just kind of like encrusted. Wait, so I had it right? It was in the right place. So why is it not projecting the way that I want it to project? What? Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so it is like this. I'm gonna put it halfway through and see what that does. I'm wondering why it doesn't want to show up. And then load. Or is it because, oh, I think I may know. I think I may know what the problem is. Yes. The problem is that basically the way that Revit works is that when you have your thread and a nosing, the nosing isn't being added to the thread. So it's not like you have the thread thickness and then the nosing gets attached in front of it. Instead, what is happening is that the nosing goes exactly where the thread is, and the thread retreats a little bit. So like I had done it correctly the first time, like the position is actually where I initially had it. The problem is, if I go MV, it should actually be here. The problem is that the way that I have built my stair doesn't really leave any room for like a projection back for the thread. Not for the thread, for the riser. See, so like the step is there. What's happening here is that Revit cannot like push back the solid geometry of like the monolithic element. That's the problem that I'm having. But I'm going to show you what would happen if I would come here and I would say that I'm going to go back to my platform. And what I need to do is give it a length. So let's see, we're going to give it 100 and see if that helps it project. It might not do it. There you go. Perfect. So again, keep in mind that when you're doing your nosing profile, step one is to create the nosing. And I had drawn it correctly. But then you also have to give Revit the instruction that the risers should step back. So I'm going to come back here and it's going to be 150. Remember, you want to follow whatever dimensions you gave to that nosing when you were creating it. And now if I go apply, okay, beautiful. This is exactly what we want. Okay, there we go. Nice. Very nice. Alternatively, if you do not want to have that nosing everywhere, what you could do is you can leave it without the nosing and then create that custom profile for a few of the steps where you want to have kind of like your bookshelf element. So not all of the steps have them, or not all of the steps have it everywhere. So for example, like see this guy here, how it's kind of like cutting in half. So again, you can play with these details however you want it to look like. All right. So with that, I'm going to finish up here by changing the material of my thread to be the same wood as the rest of my stairs. To change that material, you're going to see that now thread material has appeared as an option, where before it was just my monolithic material. And then I'm going to go apply, and then I'm going to go okay, and then I'm going to go apply, and then I'm going to go okay. And that is my very custom shape. Ooh, why are you not painting? I think that might be a glitch that might get corrected either doing this or by saving, closing, and reopening, and then, oh no, there's a hole. Yeah, see, this is what happens when they overlap too closely. Yeah, that's fine. So this is how you can do a staircase system like the one that you see in the reference image. The bookshelves themselves that you see in the back, I would model that just as a model in place geometry. It's probably easier that way. But the steps themselves, you can use the stair system. So with that, that basically reaches the end of this video. I hope you found it helpful. Thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for sticking through, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good one. Bye.